This is the second video for section 9.5, polar coordinates. And in this one, we're going to look at how you convert between polar coordinates and what I'll call regular or XY coordinates. So this is the picture we looked at in the first part of this lesson where we showed a polar coordinate. And I want you to start thinking x and y on the unit circle. Remember our cosine of theta and y of theta of our angle. And then also remember that here's our theta. The tangent of theta is going to be y over x. So this is exactly how we're going to tie x and y into theta and r. So here is kind of the relationship. I don't remember if this is in your student notes. So if it's not, at least this information, you're going to want to pause the video and copy. So tangent of theta is y over x. Remember, opposite over adjacent. So that's kind of a summary of what we looked at on the other side. And then, or on the other slide. And then remember cosine of theta, they have x over r. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of theta would be x over r. Sine of theta would be opposite over hypotenuse, which would be y over r. So all of that is nothing new. But if I take this equation and I solve for x, so if I multiply both sides by r, I'm going to get r times cosine of theta equals x. And that's exactly how we do our conversion. X, when I say x, I mean the x and y of the rectangular coordinate system. X is equal to r times the cosine of the angle. Y is equal to r times the sine of the angle. So this is the formula we use for converting. If we need to find theta, we use y over x because we're going to be given an xy and we want to write a polar coordinate, an r theta. This is how we would find theta. This is how we can find r because we're going to be given x and y. And then you can also use this formula to find r. Now, honestly, I just remember these because they make the most sense to me because I know on the unit circle, x is cosine, y is sine. So these are easy for me to remember. This is easy to remember. I don't remember this one, but I will show you how we can do it both ways. So the first example here is example 3. So you want to write that in your notebook. And it says convert the point 2 pi to rectangular coordinates. So right now it's a polar, which means this is our r and this is our theta. So I think it's easiest to, remember we're finding x and y. Yeah. So I think it's easiest to start with remembering that x is r times cosine of theta and y is r times sine of theta. Now, theta we know is pi and r we know is 2. So x is going to be 2 cosine of pi and y is going to be 2 sine of pi. Now you need to remember your unit circle stuff because these questions on the quiz will be non-calculator. So the cosine of pi is, over here on the unit circle. Where's my unit circle? Right here. So cosine is -1, sine is 0. So x would be equal to 2. The cosine of pi is -1. So x is -2. Y is equal to 2 times the sine of pi. The sine of pi is 0. So y is equal to 0. So the xy point that corresponds to this polar point would be -2, 0. So that's not too bad. X r cosine theta, y r sine of theta. Okay, that's the answer. We do not need that. This is one for you to try. So pause the video, This is polar, so this is your r, this is your theta. Practice converting that into an xy. And then hopefully you tried that and you got 2 square roots of 3. So this was pi over 3, so you need to remember the coordinates for pi over 3 and do these. When you're trying these, remember no calculator, no unit circle. Okay, example 4 is going the opposite way. So it says convert the point, so this is an xy point, to a polar. So what we want is to find r and to find theta. So let's sketch this point. It's over -1, up 1. So here's the point that we're dealing with. And so this would be our triangle. Our theta would be right there in the corner. I made that really small. This side would be -1. This side would be 1. So if I want to find theta, I'm going to tell myself or remind myself that the tangent of theta is going to be opposite over adjacent, or the tangent of theta is equal to y over x. So the tangent of theta is equal to y, which is 1 over -1. Tangent of theta is equal to -1. And remember, tan inverse, if I'm finding the angle and I know the tangent, I'm using tan inverse. But again, this would be a non-calculator. So I have to think, where on the unit circle is tangent equal to -1? Well, it would be in this quadrant or this quadrant. I know that my triangle is in this quadrant, so I'm going to say theta is equal to 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4. So that's my theta. So that's half of my coordinate point. I'm going to actually put my answer up here. That is my theta. And now I need to find my r. So I normally find my r by using one of these formulas, r cosine of theta. So x is equal to r cosine of theta. I know what x is. It's -1. R is what I'm finding, and I know what theta is. Theta is 3 pi over 4. So -1 equals r times the cosine of 3 pi over 4. The cosine of 3 pi over 4 is this coordinate point. They're pi over 4, so they're both square root of 2 over 2. The x is negative, the y is positive. Cosine is x, so this would be times negative square root of 2 over 2. So to get r by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by negative square root of 2 over 2. So over here, I'm going to have r. And here, two negatives are going to make a positive. If I do keep change flip, I'm going to end up with 2 over the square root of 2. I want to rationalize this denominator, though, and you'll need to do that, especially when you're doing your homework in WebAssign, because they will want the answer rationalized. So on the top, I get 2 square root of 2. On the bottom, I get 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so r equals square root of 2. So the polar coordinate point that is equivalent to -1, 1 is square root of 2, 3, my theta is 3 pi over 4. Now I just want to show you, or you could use this formula that's on that other page, which says r is equal to x squared plus y squared. So x squared would be -1 squared plus y squared would be 1 squared. -1 squared is 1, so I get square root of 2. So either one will work. Actually, even using this would work. You would get the same answer. So any of those. Okay, this is one for you to try. So convert that to polar coordinates without a calculator, without your unit circle, and you should get that. 2 pi over 2. And that is it for 9.5.